Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tech Adventure. I hope you're all doing well and staying dedicated to enhancing your skills in software development and embedded systems. This video continues our C++ interview Q&A series, designed to help college students, freshers, and experienced developers ace their C++ interviews with confidence. Previously, we covered 50 real-world C programming interview questions, key topics frequently asked in interviews. If you missed those videos, I highly recommend checking them out for a solid foundation before moving forward. If you find this content helpful, like, subscribe, and share to support the channel and help others on their learning journey. Let's dive and continue our Q&A series on C++. 11. What are virtual functions in C++? A virtual function in C++ is a member function in a base class that is overridden in a derived class and is resolved at runtime using dynamic or runtime polymorphism. It allows achieving function overriding and ensures that the correct function is called for an object, regardless of whether it is accessed through a base class reference or pointer. A virtual function is declared in the base class using the virtual keyword. The derived class can override the virtual function to provide a specific implementation. The compiler maintains a table called the virtual table or vtable that holds pointers to the virtual functions for a class. Each class with virtual functions has its own table. At runtime, the appropriate function is called based on the actual object type, not the pointer type. Here an example. Calling show function, even though b is a pointer to the base class, the derived class's show function is invoked, showing runtime polymorphism. Display is not virtual, so base class's display function called due to compile time binding. 12. What is a pure virtual function? A pure virtual function, also known as an abstract function, is a virtual function that has no implementation in the base class. It is declared by assigning 0 to the virtual function declaration. This makes the class abstract, meaning it cannot be instantiated on its own and must be subclassed. Derived classes are required to provide an implementation for the pure virtual function. Pure virtual functions are used to define an interface in a base class that must be implemented by all derived classes. They help enforce a contract, ensuring that derived classes provide specific behaviors. 13. What is an abstract class? A class with at least one pure virtual function is called an abstract class. Objects of an abstract class cannot be created. Helps define interfaces in C++. With same previous example here, shape is an abstract class. Since it has a pure virtual function, draw, it cannot be instantiated. Derived class, circle, must override draw, otherwise, it would also be abstract. Normal functions, info, remain unchanged, they can be used without overriding. 14. What is the use of the this pointer? The this pointer is a special pointer available within all non-static member functions of a class. It points to the object for which the member function is called, providing a way to access the instance's members and functions. The this pointer is implicitly passed to non-static member functions and allows for a variety of operations that are essential to object-oriented programming. This pointer can be used to access and modify the instance variables of the object. It can return the current object from a member function, helps in method chaining by returning the object itself. When member variable names and parameter names are the same, this helps differentiate between them. It can invoke other member functions within the same object. Here's an example to demonstrate the use of the this pointer in C++. 15. What is a friend function? A friend function is a function that is not a member of a class but has the ability to access the private and protected members of the class. Friend functions are declared using the friend keyword within the class whose members they need to access. They allow for more flexible and controlled access to a class's internal data while maintaining encapsulation. A single function can be a friend of multiple classes. Use a friend function when non-member functions need access to private data. Example, operator overloading. For functions that don't modify the object but require internal data. Here's an example. 16. What is a lambda function in C++? A lambda function in C++, also known as a lambda expression, is an anonymous function that can be defined directly within the code where it is used. Lambda functions provide a concise way to create small, inline functions that can be passed as arguments to algorithms, used as callbacks, or employed in other scenarios requiring short-lived function objects. Lambda functions are extremely useful in short-lived functions, such as algorithms, event handling, and more. They provide a way to write cleaner and more concise code. Here's an example. 17. Explain the difference between new and malloc. In C++, new and malloc are both used for dynamic memory allocation, but they have significant differences in terms of functionality, usage, and behavior. Let's break down the key distinctions between these two. New. New is a keyword or operator in C++. New not only allocates memory, but also calls the constructor of the object being created, ensuring proper initialization. New returns a pointer of the correct type, so there's no need for explicit typecasting. If new fails to allocate memory, it throws a std bad_alloc exception, making it easier to handle errors. New is used specifically for objects in C++. Memory allocated with new must be deallocated using delete for single objects or delete square bracket for arrays. Malloc. Malloc is a function in the C standard library stlib.h and can also be used in C++. Malloc only allocates memory but does not initialize it. The allocated memory contains garbage values. Malloc returns a void pointer, which needs to be explicitly cast to the appropriate type. If malloc fails to allocate memory, it returns a null pointer. The programmer needs to manually check and handle this condition. Malloc is generally used for allocating raw memory in both C and C++. Memory allocated with malloc must be deallocated using free. 18. What is the difference between shallow copy and deep copy? Shallow copy and deep copy are two ways of copying objects in C++. They differ in how they handle the copying of the object's data, especially when it involves pointers or dynamically allocated memory. Shallow copy. A shallow copy creates a new object but copies the member data in a way that the original and the new object share references to the same memory locations for any pointers. This means that changes made to the shared memory will be reflected in both objects. If one of the objects modifies the data, the change will be visible to both objects since they share the same memory. If both objects are destroyed, a double deletion error might occur since both destructors will try to delete the same memory location. Deep copy. A deep copy creates a new object and also allocates new memory for any pointer members, copying the actual data instead of just the pointer references. This ensures that the new object is a complete and independent copy of the original object. Each object has its own separate memory allocation, so modifications to one object do not affect the other. There are no issues with double deletion since each object manages its own memory. In general, deep copies are safer and more reliable when dealing with objects that contain pointers or dynamic memory. See an example. The provided program has a shallow copy issue because the default copy constructor only copies the pointer and does not allocate new memory for name. This causes multiple objects to share the same memory, leading to unexpected behavior or crashes when destructors are called. 19. What are templates in C++? Templates in C++ allow writing generic code that works with different data types without rewriting the same logic multiple times. Templates provide a flexible and reusable way to implement functions and classes, making them type-independent. C++ supports two types of templates: function templates, used to define generic functions; class templates, used to define generic classes. Here an example how function template and class template used. Templates are a cornerstone of generic programming in C++, enabling you to write flexible and reusable code. They are extensively used throughout the standard template library, STL, for containers like std, vector, std, list, and algorithms. 20. What is the standard template library, STL? The standard template library, STL, is a powerful set of C++ template classes and functions that provide general-purpose, reusable components for handling data structures and algorithms. It allows programmers to use common data structures like vectors, lists, stacks, queues, sets, and maps without having to implement them from scratch. STL consists of three main components. 1. Containers. Containers are predefined data structures that store elements. They are categorized into sequence containers, maintain data in a linear order. Examples: vector, list, DK, array, etc. Associative containers store data in sorted order, allowing fast retrieval using keys. Examples: set, map, multiset, etc. Container adapters offer a modified interface over other container types. Examples: stack, queue, etc. 2. Algorithms. A collection of functions that perform operations on containers, such as searching, sorting, counting, and manipulating elements. See the example. 3. Iterators. Objects that enable traversal of container elements without exposing the underlying structure. See the examples. In essence, the standard template library elevates C++ programming by providing a rich set of tools that make code more efficient, reliable, and easier to maintain. That wraps up today's session on real C++ interview questions and answers. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content related to software and embedded development. For a diverse experience, I also encourage you to subscribe to my other channel, where you can explore travel, finance, and stock market news, and updates from around the globe. Links are provided in the description for more details. We'll continue this C++ Q&A series in our next video. Until next time.